Welcome back, everyone, to another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1181, titled God and Devil. And this chapter, in all honesty, gives me vibes of the fact that IMU is fighting Loki throughout this entire chapter. It is a 1v1 fight. IMU is fighting Loki. The king of the world is in a scrap on Elbaf with the accursed prince of Elbaf, all right? And we get so much in this chapter, all right? All right, so let's break it down first, all right? So the chapter starts off with a nice little cute cover story with our girl Carrot. We all remember Carrot. We haven't seen her in, I think, a few years now, the end of Wano, so 2022, when she was made the leader of the Momo Dukedom, or was she there during Vegapunk's broadcast? But we see her, and she is doing this adorable little jog over some sleeping dolphins, which is just the absolute cutest thing in the world right now. We see her doing her thing, and it's just absolutely precious. Request was made by somebody named Nakihara Michi, so hey, kudos, you've got a Carrot fan right here for us. But now that that's in, let's get into the meat and bones of this chapter, because it is a bloodbath. So the chapter starts off with Loki remembering what happened at Ars Castle 14 years ago. Now, if you remember, Loki, throughout his entire life, up until Herod's death, never had the best relationship with his dad. They didn't get along, in part because Harold was basically, subjugating himself to the government and, doing a bunch of absentee parent shit. But the chapter starts off with, Loki remembering his, final conversations he had with Harold when Harold was still in control of his mind, right before he went completely crazy. And Harold basically saying, "I'm the worst king in our country's history. Please, I need you to kill me and take the throne and make yourself the hero." Now listen, Harold, for all his many flaws, and there are numerous, the one thing that even Loki couldn't deny is that he was deeply devoted to his country. If nothing else, you could say Harold loved Elbaf too much, but he definitely loved Elbaf, and he would be willing to do anything. And he did anything to try to help it, but it ultimately doomed him and put his people in danger in the long run. But Loki remembers this, and he decided to take it on himself to be Harold's killer, and also take the burden of the fact that the truth about Harold's death onto him, so that way Harold's entire life work wouldn't be wasted. And Loki's remembering this, and he's staring down at Emo directly, just looking down at him, telling him, "My father was 144 years old. Harold, if he was alive right now, he'd be 158 years old, 2 years younger than Dorian Bragi, who are 160, so again, it makes sense, they all grew up together. Most giants usually live to about 300, or in the case of Elder Yarul, you live to be well over 300. So essentially, Harold was basically halfway through his natural life. And Loki remembers this. He remembers his final conversation with Harold. And he's like, "You manipulated my father. You made him rip off his horns. You made him do your dirty work. You made all these promises to him that if he had played nice, played by your rules, he would be rewarded. And you basically brought him on the worst fate. You took away his freedom. You made him your puppet. You did this to my dad." Loki he spent his whole 8 years of his life out at sea basically trying to find the people responsible for Harold's death, basically antagonizing the world government. And now he's staring directly at Emu, looking down at him. It's like, that makes you the one responsible for his death. And Emu's response is just so disrespectful, like he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yes. He's like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. See, the one who really suffered most wasn't me, wasn't your country. Sure as shit wasn't the Navy or anybody else. I'm the one who got inconvenienced most by Harold's death, all right? Because we know that creating God's Knights and entering into covenant pacts with people for Emu is not something you can just do at random. It's not like with Yuhabaha and Bleach, where Yuhabaha can basically rip off a piece of his soul and give it to somebody. They gain a power-up. When they die, all that power they accumulated returns to him. This isn't like that. With Emu, it's like there's a finite number of times you can do this over a certain period without at least retaining the power back, as we saw with Saturn. He's like, no, you don't understand. I spent my time giving him power, making him an immortal God's Knight, and he was killed almost instantly. I'm pissed off that I had to basically come here and waste my Sunday. I should be up in my room playing with my butterflies and, playing with my sexy maids or whatever. I don't give a shit. But I'm here now because of you. So let's bring this on. And Loki says, okay, let's go. I sub. Here, catch his fade. He rears back Ragnar. He rears it back. All right. He coats the shit out of it with Conqueror's Hockey. All right. And Loki remembers everything about his dad. And he continues to remember. He's like, damn you. Damn you for what you did. I don't care how I remembered. As Harold, he's remembering Harold's final words. As Harold was being run down by his own men. There is nothing more important that matters than securing Elbaf's future. And Loki remembers this. And Loki admitted if he had become king, he was never going to honor his father's wishes. He was never going to continue the path that Harold started to making peace with humans and moving Elbaf away from violence and warfare. But Loki damn sure did not want to see his dad made a puppet, and he damn sure didn't want to see his dad's entire life work go down the crapper. And then he's remembering Harold's words, saying, listen, it doesn't matter how I remembered. They can hate me. They can curse me. The most important thing right now is securing Elbaf's future. All right, isn't that right, son? And he's remembering, he's using the exact same technique, coding with Conqueror's Hockey, summoning a bolt of lightning, and he just slams at IMU, cursing at him, saying, damn you for what you did back then, all right? You ruined my father's life, and you ruined mine. And this is one of his first named attacks, Ragnir Izuchi. Now, it basically means thunder, pheasant weasel. If you've ever seen the show Naruto, I'm going to be referencing Naruto a lot in this series, especially in Elbaf, just roll with it. We see Imu basically take this attack, this lightning windsickle attack. He essentially creates a demon black fireball like he did in the previous chapters and basically blocks it, all right? He essentially just creates it and just blocks it head on. All right, and this is not some like minor attack. This is a big attack. This is the same technique he used to kill Harold. Essentially, code his attack and Conqueror's Hockey, summon a bolt of lightning, and then just bam at whatever he's doing. Right, this is basically one shot at Harold essentially. And we see the after effect. We see everybody in the vicinity, Jinbei, Nami, Lilith, Bonnie, get blown away like just this massive explosion that wrecks the forest. And mind you, this is Elbaf, so everything's much bigger. And it just levels everything. And Imu just tanks it. And Loki's like, the hell? He's like, okay, I was not expecting this, because Loki's obviously extremely powerful fighter. He's got Conqueror's Hockey, he's got a mythical zone, he's got 2 mythical zones, essentially. And he's just like, okay, he tanked that. Okay, this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought, okay? So he's now realizing, okay, all right, I'm in the long haul, all right? Lock in, let's go. So he says, all right, I can't believe you tanked that, all right? And he's like, well, what's with those black flames? Is this Naruto? What are you, using Amaterasu? What are you doing? And then he comes to the conclusion, he's like, okay, I'm just gonna hit you even harder. Just even harder. Let's see what you got. And Imu uses Omen. He uses Omen. Now, this is interesting because this is the symbol in Buddhism for enlightenment. And Imu uses Omen, and he uses it in a way similar to Luffy's Gear 5 in the fact that he increases his size. That's right, he expands himself and he makes himself bigger into the size of a giant. And not only does that happen, he basically, his whole body, as well as his weapon, his pole, Naginata staff that basically is coated in the black fire, increases size, and Loki's response is like, the hell, giantification? What is this shit? And he becomes big, like almost size of Loki, all right? He becomes massive. All right, and then Imu was responding, he's like, oh, you want to know what power is? Okay, I'm going to sit here and explain to you what my power is, but not in a very direct way, like Bleach, like how everybody explains their powers. Imu was like, I'm going to explain it to you, but I'm not really going to explain it to you. It's going to be a little vague. So his response is, Omen is simply Mu's military might. If you remember from last chapter, Omen can be translated as Omen or demonic hockey or Maki. So this is some questions here. Okay, so is this the protagonist of all devil fruits? Is this the OG devil fruit? Is this the first one? Because he's bringing trees to life. He's healing people. He's being able to do what the hell he wants, essentially. And is this basically the evil version of the Nika fruit? Because in that mural, most people agree that Imu is most likely the earth god in the second stage of the world. So we see that. And then Imu wields back his attack. And then he says, its power dwells in all things. What does that mean? Dwells in all things. I'm going to guess that because this is a devil's fruit, i.e. with the katakana, not kanji, it basically is the protagine of everything devil fruit based. So it basically exists in everything. So there is a devil fruit that makes you giant size. We saw this. It's in Senwan Wolf's hands. And there's devil fruits that also make you smaller. So it dwells in all things. And he responds by saying, yeah, it's in all things. And then we see, as Imu's rearing back his weapon, Loki does the same. And we see them clash in this boom, massive explosion. Just he's roughly the size, he's about half the size of Loki. He has to jump to get on even height with Loki, so he's about half the size. So we just see them clashing. We see Loki and Imu just clashing in this epic, just conqueror's hockey, massive explosion, wrecking everything. And it just basically is like confirming, like, okay, yeah, Loki can clash with Imu. Can he beat him? Probably not. So they just keep going at it. And then, Imu starts going on a bit of a rant. Okay, now we're going to get more into what his mindset's like, because clearly the lights are not all home. Let's put it like that. All right. And so as they're fighting, Imu basically does a somersault over Loki. All right. And then he basically turns the back of his pole arm staff into a black flames. And then he starts talking. He's like, and yet, the craving can only be satisfied via corruption. All right. Again, the craving can only be satisfied via corruption. What does that mean? I have no idea. But this is basically Imu trying to explain, okay, this is how I gain power, and it relates to the idea that devil fruits are based off desires. Remember, back in Egghead, Vegapunk explained, devil fruits came into existence because people had desires. They manifested those powers. Somebody wanted a jacket fruit. Like, again, I don't know why somebody wanted jacket fruit powers. I don't know why, but again, somebody wanted a jacket fruit power, and they got it. And so then he was like, power can only be satisfied via corruption. It merely requires to submit their will to a covenant. So power can only be satisfied via corruption, and you can only gain power by submitting your will to a covenant. I.e., you want power, you have to sell your soul into a covenant, and that covenant is with me. Because Imu's remembering what he did with Harold, making Harold into a God's Knight. Or is he remembering the fact that what Harold wanted was for Elbaf to be a member nation? So Harold basically had to sell out his principles, effectively rip off his horns, and make himself a literal slave to the government, and then enter into a covenant with Imu. So is using Harold as like an example to say, hey, this is how the world is. People want power. They sell themselves out. They enter into more corrupt deals to gain more power. And then when their envy drives them, they achieve power. Okay, now let's reiterate. So this is how Imu sees the world. People who are not happy, their craving can only be satisfied via corruption, meaning they're going to have to do something evil. Then, if you want to satisfy your corruption, you need to enter a covenant. Okay? Then, at the last, your envy will drive you and you will achieve something called power. Now, in this context, this is basically Imu's trying to explain, this is how I see the world, okay? People have desires. They're motivated by their greed, corruption, and envy, and that's how they get power. All right. And he's remembering, Dorian Broggy, who Idomi reversed earlier in the arc. He's remembering Harold, whose desires to achieve peace with Elbaf and the rest of the human world essentially made himself a slave and entered into a covenant with Imu. And he says, all right, and then those three things together form a trinity. All right. Now, Trinity is the concept in Christianity where you've got the three facets of God: the Father, God, the Son, Christ, and the Holy Spirit. So you have the three facets of it. So this is even basically saying corruption, covenant, and power. Those three things make up how the Holy Trinity, at least in Imu's eyes, all right? And the word power can be stated as reading as so basically when the word power is being brought up, it's being stated as reading through, it uses the same kanji previous used for omen as demonic aura. So again, when he's referring to power, he's not referring to power in a normal sense. He's referring to power in a demonic sense. Okay? Power in a demonic sense. Okay, again, okay. He's basically saying people are motivated by greed, corruption, and envy, all right? And these things cause them to seek power out, all right? And this is, when he's referring to power, he's referring to demonic power. not power from Chainsaw Man. Again, I'm going to be referencing Chainsaw Man, other manga a lot in the series. Just, yeah, not power, just like normal power, all right? Demonic power, all right? And that is known as Dominion. And then Imu basically, while he's doing this, he's loading back up his attack, and he is essentially turns his attack into a chain sickle ball, and he fires it at Loki, just boom, in his chest. And a massive explosion, as he explained this to Loki. He says, your power is known as Dominion. And then Imu, essentially looking at the situation, is like, okay, I've explained to him how power and corruption works. Let me tempt his soul. Let me offer him the forbidden fruit, so to speak. All right, and then he says, like, shall I grant thee the power of a god? Do you want to become a god's knight? I could make you one. You could be immortal. You can gain power. And again, this kind of belies the fact that, not everybody is out for power. Not everybody is seeking to dominate the world. All right. Some people would rather die than sell their souls for power. All right. And Loki's like, and especially with Loki, because it's funny, because Loki was tortured by Shamrock, by Gunko earlier in the arc. And he's like, he told them to piss off, essentially. He was like, yeah, I don't want to become a god's knight. You guys are trash. No, what? Get out of here. You're trash. Get out of here. All right. And so then as Loki's doing this, all right, he's hearing this, and he's like, so you basically, power is dominion. That's what you're saying, right? And he's, as he was going on, he's like, in one step, you'd be beyond humanity, all right? You'd be beyond humanity. And Loki's like, yeah, screw you. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want nothing you're selling. And again, Loki knows what being in a covenant with Imu's like. He saw with his father firsthand. He knows when you enter one, there is no free will. There is no do-over. There's no back deal or deals. No. You are a slave to Imu. And he saw what happened to his father. And he's like, yeah, no, screw that. I don't want none of that. Nope. Y'all can kiss my ass. I am going to die on my own terms. All right. And then Imu's like, as the Imu and Loki's fighting, Loki begins to get heavy-winded. All right. He begins to get heavy-winded. Like, he's starting to feel like, okay, I've taken his attacks. I've hit him a few times and it's done nothing. Okay. All right. I know the solution. I hit him really, really hard. Just harder. All right. That should work, right? That always works. You hit somebody really, really hard. That always works. That never fails, right? All right. And so then Loki's like, wait, so you're telling me God's dominion is essentially this power of yours? But then Loki's like, wait, you're telling me your powers, this dominion power of yours, essentially, but people are entering into covenants with you. They're selling their souls, and in exchange, you're giving them power. Loki's like, wait, hold on. That sounds like a devil power. That sounds like you're the fucking devil. Like, am I missing something? Like, I didn't go to school. Loki didn't go to school. He obviously skipped all his classes, but he's like, no, that sounds like the devil. Like, I might be wrong, but that sounds like the devil. And then Imu's like, gives like a sly notice. He's like, is there a difference between a god and a devil? Oh, fuck yeah, there is. There's a huge difference between a god and a devil. Although, funny thing enough, with Imu, for the longest time in human history, some kings and monarchs were seen as like godlike, as deities, essentially. Like in Japan's history, the emperor was seen as a god incarnate among men. So this is clearly Imu's trying to play on words, that he's like, yeah, I'm giving people power in exchange for covenants with me. That sounds like a god. And Loki's like, you're taking away their free will and you're damning them to be your slaves. That sounds like you're the fucking devil. Like, yeah, no, I'm good. And so Loki's response is like, okay, I don't give a shit. It beats me. I just know I am never going to be dominated by you. I would sooner die than ever be your puppet or slave. I saw what you did to my dad. I know how you operate. I know how the fucking world government operates. Screw you. I'm kicking your ass, okay? And Loki gets back up, all right? He gets a second win. He's like, all right, Ragnar, let's go. All right? And then Imu's just flying above him, all right? And then Imu's like, the world itself rejoices in a state of dominion. Basically saying, people are happy when they're being dominated by me. It's me, okay? If people are my slaves, they're happy. They're happy. They get power. They get, their free will doesn't matter. Who cares about them? They get power, all right? And then Imu, this is one of those rare moments from Imu of introspection, because he remembers JOYBOY. All right, now it's silhouetted, obviously, because Oda loves his silhouettes, and we see JOYBOY just laughing it up like, ha, 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 ha. And then he's lost in thought. He's like, thinking back, he's like, JOYBOY. And then as he's thinking it, Loki gets back Loki charges at him while he's lost in thought, like he loses his focus, and then he screams. All right, again, Emu screams. Isn't that right, Joy Boy? He just screams it. He loses his shit. He just loses his shit. He's screaming, and you just see him screaming enraged. All right. And then while he's doing this, all right, he's screaming enraged. He unleashes a shit ton of Conqueror's Haki, just booming it all over the area, right? Luffy's eating it, and he's just like, no, what's that? Whoa, what's going on? Where's all this Haki coming from? What's going on? All right. He says, I need more food. I gotta eat more. I need to make sure I am all filled up because I do not want to run out of juice in this fight. All right. He's like, I need all the juice I got. All right. I've been fighting like this before. All right. And he's like, it's so heavy. It feels like I'm suffocating. What is this Haki? All right. What's going on with this guy's Haki? He's like, okay. He's like, I need to make sure I eat all this food. I need to crap out on all this food. If I don't eat all this food, we are screwed. We don't have a chance in hell of winning this fight. All right. We're done. We have no chance. All right, Luffy's like, okay, I need to make sure I'm all filled up, 150%, 200%, 1,000% of food. If not, yeah, I'm gonna crap out midway through, and that will screw everything up. Okay. And then Loki hits Emu. I want to read this again. Emu has taken damage. This has never happened before in the series. This is the first time he's ever showed up. He takes damage, like just direct damage. Loki hits him with Ragnir. He's still lost in fight. You shouldn't underestimate him. And then he sends him flying. I mean, like a bullet train. Bam! Into the tree, all right? Into the atom tree, all right? And a massive explosion. And Emu's just sitting there. His arms, all right? He's like painted into the wall, all right? And he's bleeding. There's blood on his face. He's taking damage, all right? And he gets up, and then Loki is like, okay, you know what? You know what? Okay, I have hit you really hard. Twice, 3 times, has not killed you, and I'm in my base form. So Loki's like, you know what, screw this. Okay, I'm just gonna go to my base form, and I'm gonna just fucking blast you with Thunder Blast and see what happens, all right? Because Loki's like, okay, human form, base form isn't working, screw it, I gotta transform and just try to nuke this guy out of existence. He transforms into his his Needhog form, right? And Emu freaks out. He's like, okay, oh, she's like, fuck. He's like, no. This isn't good. This is not good. He freaks out. He's actually terrified. He sees Loki's Needhog. He's like, oh God, Needhog, no. He then realizes, okay, this isn't good. He then casts a Buddha symbol like this, right? He basically waves a domain barrier, a domain expansion. If you're like me, you think of Buddha hand signs, you think of JJK, and he casts essentially a barrier of basically black flames to protect himself, to tank the attack. Because if that attack had hit, that would have done major damage, all right? It would have done major damage in this arc, all right? And Emu would have been brutalized, all right? Seriously, this is the first time we're seeing Emu scared from anything in person. Because if that attack had hit, it would have fucked him royally, all right? And Loki just shouts, Thunderhand, bam! And he tries to, and Emu just barely manages to survive it. And then he's like, okay, that was close. Oh man. Had me for a second there. I'm 100 years old, but this whole thing about fearing death is new to me. I'm not used to this, okay? So then he just sighs up. He's like, okay, I'm good. And then he sees his Needhog form, and then he smiles. He's like, oh, this is good. This is good. I like this, all right? He's like, so he finally returned Needhog. And so this is, I don't like that smile. This is a smile of somebody who is extremely confident in himself, all right? He is just like, I got this, all right? Now that please don't be a Domi reverse. Oda, please, for the love of God, please do not Domi reverse Loki. We've had enough of the Domi reverse. You can't keep pulling the same card every time. We've seen it. It's done. It's finished. Venito, we're done. All right, we see this technique being moved, and essentially it's just like, he was like, okay, I've given everything I've had, and so now he's transformed. Good. All right, this is good. This works out for me. All right, and so then we also have other stuff with remembering JOYBOY when he's talking about like people are most happy when they're in Mu's dominion, right? When they're under my subservience. All right, and then he remembers JOYBOY. Now the biggest fan theory is Emu essentially got cucked by JOYBOY because he wanted Lily and Lily wanted that Nika, and so he got cucked by him. So he's salty about that. But maybe they were friends. We don't know. Again, they could have been friends. This could have been some Han Solo and Anakin Skywalker shit, or if you really want to get other examples, like some Madara and Hashirama type shit, where they both had differing goals on how to make the world a better place, and everything fell out from there, all right? But yeah, that's chapter 1181. We see Loki fight Imu, and we see Imu take damage, freak out. We see him crash out over JOYBOY. He still has PTSD over this guy over 800 years later. And yeah, he's now just smiling, just like, I got you, Needhog. This is what I want. I got you. I got you, Needhog. You're right where I want you. So yeah, I'm Malik signing off. God bless y'all and have a wonderful night.